something I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Something like I guess I kind of been doing, we kind of all do self-consciously, but like I don't know if it's ever been like articulated in this way. And it's very interesting too. It has to do with psychology. And I want to talk to you guys about some psychology and how it relates to being a DJ. Super interesting stuff, right? Had a couple classes in college. I also like, read all the shit, and I think the way the human mind works and all that, it's super interesting, right? So let's talk about that. First is playing for the majority, okay? Now I'm not talking about a 50-50 crowd, right? We've all seen crowds where it's super mixed, right? It's basically like it's half and half. It's half fucking people that are older. It's half people that are younger, and that's it. It's a super blend. You play those crowds differently. You got to be really open format and really kind of like, going back and forth and making everybody happy type shit, to really get that working. But if you have a crowd that's a majority, if you have a crowd that's majority, specifically definitely with age, right? If your crowd is, a large majority younger or a large majority older, you always want to play for the majority, okay? And let me explain why and what I mean by this. It's an interesting thing. The need for acceptance is a basic human instinct. Although some value it more than others, we all want to fit in, we all want to belong, right? In order to achieve that, we often present slightly different versions of who we are, depending on the environment and whose company we are in. Think about that. Humans often present slightly different versions of who we are, of who they are, based on the environment and what company's around them. So how does that tie back to playing for the majority? What I noticed was this DJ was dropping, club style mixes and some newer music, and I'm watching these older people dance and having a great time. And I know for a fact they don't know these songs. I know for a fact they've never heard this remix. They've never heard this song before, right? I'm watching them. I'm literally watching the old people. And they're just having the time of their lives, right? Just whatever, just bopping. And I'll watch them and I'll wait for like a song they actually know the words to. And then they're so excited they know the words to it. They're screaming at the top of their lungs. And then they just keep dancing. And it's interesting. If you have a large majority in your crowd, you always want to play for that majority because humans want to fit in. If it's a mostly younger crowd like we had on Saturday night, the few old people that are there, they're either going to sit in the back and just be miserable and say, oh, this sucks. Or if they give a shit, if they want to have a good time, if they want to celebrate the love of this couple, they're going to dance to things they normally want to dance to. They're going to just to fit in, just to have fun because they want to enjoy themselves. Maybe they don't know this music at all, but they're still going to dance and enjoy themselves because everyone else is. The major key is everyone else is. Now, if you're not doing a good job and nobody's dancing, then the new stuff's not going to work. If you play the new stuff the right way for the younger people and they're having a great time, the older people will join in to fit in and will also dance to the newer stuff. It's the surefire way. I'm not saying play all new. I'm not saying go up there and just drop bombs right away or just drop like the hardest hip hop. Still play a wedding like a wedding. Start off, like regular, like if it's a younger crowd, I would start off with more like, I would do September, but then maybe I'd go into Pitbull, maybe I'd go into, your basic Low by Flow Rider, your Calabria, your Danza Kotoro type shit, right? Like I would go into like the regular stuff, but that's newer. And then I would slowly creep into the newer. But generally everything I'm playing is in the last 15 years, with the exception of a little curveball here and there. But every curveball I make, if the crowd is majority younger, is going to be a curveball, an older song that the younger crowd's going to know. I Want You Back by Jackson 5. Any Michael Jackson song, obviously they would know. Staying Alive by Bee Gees. These are songs that are so well known that they're older. So you're playing a song for the older people, but the younger people obviously will dance too. So that's kind of how I'll handle it. And then on the flip side, if you have a crowd that's majority older, you will find that the younger people will dance to the older music because it's not like uncool. They're at an older party. They're looking around, they're surrounding their environment. They're going to adapt. They're going to want to fit in. They're going to want to have a good time. Right. And I mean, maybe not the Generation Z, those super young people, they're going to be in the corner on TikTok, but other people that are younger, if they're the minority and everyone else having a great time to all this classic music, disco, funk, Run Around Sue, whatever, they're going to dance to it as well. And they're going to have a fun. Maybe if they don't even know the song, they'll still dance and just have fun because they want to fit in. It goes both ways. So always identify if you have a majority. If you have a majority in a crowd, any which way, play to them. And you will be successful at that event. It's very, very, very important you identify this. Too many people, play for the minority sometimes. You might, you might not want to play the old stuff because you don't like it. You just play all the young stuff. You have a majority older crowd. It's not going to work. And then in return, the younger people won't even dance because because that's a whole nother aspect of it. If you do the opposite, if you play against the majority, it's not going to work for the minority because the minority feels weird dancing to their music in front of a majority older crowd that they know doesn't like it, If the crowd is mostly old and I drop the hottest the baby track, they're not going to come out and dance to the baby because it's like, oh yeah, this is my song, but it's like they all don't like it. I know they don't like it. I feel bad. I'm not fitting in. You're going to feel weird. You might bop at your table low key, but that's it, and vice versa. If we had that new crowd on Saturday, if we dropped all this old shit, if we dropped a bunch of really, really old songs, the younger crowd would have been like, ugh, this sucks. And then the older crowd would have been like, yeah, play something newer. They literally would tell you to play something newer. I've had this happen to me in my life where I play a little too old when it's mostly new. And then I get older people coming up to me. Yo, can you play play a little Pitbull or something? Come on, let's get this thing going. I like Pitbull. They're trying to prove to me, I know newer music. Let's go. It's a fact. So definitely think about this, DJ. It's very DJs. DJ. Definitely think about this, DJs. It's very, very important. It's interesting. And I usually, just so you know, if you guys are wondering how much of a majority, I go by the 70% rule personally. I mean, this isn't technical. I mean, you could say 75, 80, whatever. But if I look around, I'm like, all right, 75% of the crowd is this, and I'm playing to that. To me, that's an overwhelming majority. That's a herd immunity majority, or whatever they say in science. So that's kind of what I go by. You can make up your own rules or whatever, but just regardless, trust me on this. You always want to play for the majority. Now,